So, today we're diving into the wild, turbulent story of Boeing's recent troubles. Boeing, this giant of aviation, has been synonymous with air travel for over a century, building planes that carry millions across the globe. But lately, the company's been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons: crashes, safety concerns, whistleblower controversies, and a corporate culture that's raised eyebrows. The latest chapter? A devastating Air India crash in Ahmedabad, India, on June 12th, 2025, that's left the world reeling. Add to that a chilling story about a whistleblower's alleged suicide, and you've got a saga that's as complex as it is unsettling. Let's start with the crash that's dominating the news. Air India Flight AI 171, a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, took off from Ahmedabad, bound for London Gatwick, with 242 people on board, 169 Indians, 53 Brits, 7 Portuguese, and others. Just minutes after takeoff, something went catastrophically wrong. Footage shows the plane gliding low, landing gear still up, before it slammed into a residential area near a medical college, triggering a massive explosion. The death toll is staggering. 241 of the 242 on board perished, plus at least 28 people on the ground. One survivor, a 40-year-old Brit named Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, somehow made it out, but the scale of this tragedy, 269 lives lost, makes it India's worst air disaster in a decade. This is the first fatal crash of a Boeing 787, a plane marketed as a cutting-edge marvel. For Boeing, already battered by years of scrutiny, it's a gut punch. Why does this crash hit so hard? It's not just the loss of life, though that's heartbreaking enough. It's the context. Boeing's been fighting to rebuild trust after a string of high-profile incidents. The 737 MAX crashes in 2018 and 2019. Lion Air Flight 610 in Indonesia and Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 killed 346 people and exposed serious flaws in the plane's automated systems, specifically a faulty sensor system called MCOS. Those crashes led to a 20-month global grounding of the 737 MAX, costing Boeing billions and tanking its reputation. The Air India crash, though involving a different model, rekindles those same fears. Is Boeing cutting corners? Are their planes safe? The immediate aftermath saw Boeing's stock drop 5%, a sign investors are nervous. New CEO Kelly Ortberg, who took over in 2024, issued a statement expressing condolences and pledging support for the investigation. But the pressure's on. India's aviation sector, one of the fastest growing in the world, relies heavily on Boeing planes, and this crash has grounded operations at Ahmedabad's airport while authorities sift through the wreckage. Early speculation points to a possible mechanical failure, but no official cause has been confirmed. For now, the world's watching, and Boeing's in the hot seat again. To understand why this crash feels like another chapter in a troubled book, we need to go back to Boeing's roots and how it became the behemoth it is. Founded in 1916 by William Boeing in Seattle, the company started small, building seaplanes for mail delivery. By World War II, it was cranking out bombers like the B-17 Flying Fortress. Post-war, Boeing bet big on commercial jets, launching the 707 in the 1950s, which kicked off the jet age. The 747, introduced in 1969, was a game-changer, a jumbo jet that shrank the world. For decades, Boeing and Europe's Airbus were the dueling titans of the sky, splitting a market worth trillions. But Boeing's story isn't just about innovation. It's about corporate decisions that shaped its path. In 1997, Boeing merged with McDonnell Douglas, a rival known for a more cutthroat, profit-driven culture. Many insiders say this merger shifted Boeing's DNA. Engineers, who once called the shots, started losing ground to executives obsessed with stock prices and cost-cutting. By the 2000s, Boeing was outsourcing huge chunks of its production, including software and parts, to save money. This set the stage for problems down the line. Fast forward to the 2010s, and Boeing's racing to compete with Airbus's fuel-efficient A320neo. Their answer? The 737 MAX, a revamped version of the trusty 737, designed to be cheaper to operate without needing pilots to retrain. But to make it work, Boeing added MCOS, a system meant to prevent stalls by automatically adjusting the plane's nose. Problem was MCOS relied on a single sensor that could fail, and did. When Lion Air's 737 MAX crashed in 2018, followed by Ethiopian Airlines in 2019, investigations revealed Boeing knew about MCOS issues but downplayed them. Regulators, especially the FAA, were criticized for being too cozy with Boeing rubber-stamping approvals. The fallout was brutal: lawsuits, congressional hearings, and a $2.5 billion settlement with the U.S. government. But the 737 MAX wasn't Boeing's only headache. The 787 Dreamliner, like the one in the Air India crash, had its own rocky start. Launched in 2011, it promised fuel efficiency and passenger comfort, but early models faced battery fires and production delays. Boeing fixed those issues, and the 787 became a workhorse for airlines like Air India. Still, the Ahmedabad crash raises questions about whether Boeing's quality control has fully recovered from its earlier stumbles. Now, let's talk about the whistleblowers, because this is where the story gets dark. Boeing's troubles aren't just about tech glitches or bad luck. Insiders have been sounding alarms for years, and some paid a heavy price. The most chilling case involves John Barnett, a Boeing quality manager who went public in 2019 about safety lapses at the company's South Carolina plant, where 787s are built. Barnett said workers were pressured to skip inspections and install substandard parts to meet deadlines. He filed a whistleblower complaint, accusing Boeing of retaliating against him. In March 2024, Barnett was set to testify in a lawsuit against Boeing. The day before, he was found dead in his truck in Charleston, South Carolina, from a gunshot wound. Authorities called it a suicide, but the timing raised red flags. Social media, especially posts on X, lit up with skepticism. People pointed to Barnett's claims that he'd been harassed and feared for his safety. No evidence of foul play has surfaced, but the lack of transparency fuels distrust. Another whistleblower, Sam Solapur, testified in 2024 about similar issues, saying Boeing ignored safety concerns on the 787 and 777 programs. These stories paint a picture of a company where speaking out comes with risks. Whistleblower accounts also highlight a broader issue: Boeing's supply chain. To cut costs, Boeing outsourced heavily, including to firms in India and elsewhere, where labor's cheaper. A 2019 report claimed some 737 MAX software was written by engineers earning as little as $9 an hour, raising questions about expertise. While outsourcing isn't inherently bad, critics argue Boeing's oversight was lax, letting defects slip through. The Air India crash investigation will likely scrutinize whether supply chain issues played a role, especially since the 787's production involves global suppliers. Boeing's also faced cultural criticism. In 2021, it ramped up diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, but by late 2024, reports suggested it scaled back, citing distractions from core engineering priorities. Some, like commentator Christopher Rufo, framed this as Boeing refocusing on merit, but others saw it as dodging accountability for systemic issues. Either way, it's a sign of a company grappling with its identity amid relentless pressure. So, where does Boeing go from here? The Air India crash is a fresh wound, and its legacy will depend on what investigators find. If mechanical or design flaws are confirmed, Boeing could face new lawsuits and regulatory crackdowns. India's aviation authority, the DGCA, is already under scrutiny for past lapses, and global regulators like the FAA and ESA will be watching closely. Boeing's pledged full cooperation, but trust is thin. The 787 safety record was solid until now, but one crash can change perceptions overnight. Boeing's financial stakes are huge. The company's lost billions since the 737 MAX crisis, and the Ahmedabad crash sent its stock tumbling again. New orders for 787s or 737s could stall if airlines and passengers lose faith. Air India, which operates 27 787s and has more on order, is a key customer, and its response will be telling. Meanwhile, Airbus is circling, ready to snatch market share with its A350 and A320neo, which haven't faced similar scandals. The whistleblower saga adds another layer. Barnett's death, whether suicide or not, has become a symbol of Boeing's troubled culture. Posts on X show public sentiment is raw. People don't just blame Boeing for crashes. They're angry about perceived cover-ups. If more whistleblowers come forward, or if investigations tie the 787 crash to quality lapses, Boeing's leadership could be in for a reckoning. CEO Ortberg's only been in the job a year, tasked with cleaning up a mess decades in the making. His promise to restore trust sounds good, but actions matter more. Boeing's legacy, though, isn't just about crashes or controversies. It's about resilience. The company survived the 737 MAX grounding, rebuilt the 787's reputation after early hiccups, and still employs thousands of engineers who've pushed aviation forward. The question is whether Boeing can reclaim its engineering soul or if it's too entangled in corporate shortcuts. The Air India crash, the whistleblower deaths, the outsourcing debates, they're all threads in a story that's still unfolding. For now, the skies feel a little less certain, and Boeing's got to prove it can still fly straight.